Hi there. I have a Fujifilm X-H2 camera. I've been using it long enough now to test many of the features and customize it to my own personal preferences. I've been in and out of the menus a lot, and I've been steadily refining the customizations that I originally set up in the camera to begin with. In the process, I've discovered some very fascinating things that I definitely think will be helpful to other folks with a Fujifilm X-H2 or X-H2S camera. The most important thing, and actually the coolest thing I've discovered while working in the camera, is that the C1 through C7 customization slots on the top dial aren't actually limited to being used for only 7 customizations. There's actually a way to set up the top dial to access up to 14 customizations, with the caveat that 7 customizations can be for still photos and 7 customizations can be for movies, because each of the customization slots on the top dial can hold independent settings for movies and stills and can be easily toggled to access either mode. At this point in time, I personally have 9 customization settings assigned to positions on my top dial. I have 5 still photo customizations and 4 movie customizations. The secret to making more than 7 customizations convenient, quick, and easy to use is to add the custom mode setting feature to the My Menu Settings section of the camera's main menu. From there, you can access the 7 positions that appear on the top dial whenever necessary, and toggle each of them back and forth between their custom still photo settings and their custom movie settings. I'll show you an example and then explain how to set it up for yourself. Here I am with my top dial in position C6, which is normally toggled to its movie state, ready for me to instantly access my preferred settings for recording movies in 120 FPS. Now I'll go to my menu and choose the custom mode setting, access C6, and toggle it to still photo mode. Look at that! Now my camera is ready to take black and white still photos with the Acros Red film simulation. When I'm finished shooting stills with that black and white film sim, I can simply repeat the process and toggle C6 back to where I normally like to keep it, ready to go for a 120 FPS movie recording. You probably won't need to worry about programming secondary sets of preferences into positions on the top dial until you fill up the first 7 slots with your favorite still photo and movie settings. To do it, you'll first want to get organized and make a list of your most common shooting preferences for still photos and movies. Then prioritize what will be assigned to the 7 available positions. And finally, go ahead and program each of the 7 positions with those preferences. After you're satisfied with how you've set up your first 7 customizations, then you're ready to start adding additional alternate customizations to some of those top dial positions. My standard top dial configuration is to have positions C1 through C4 set for my most common still photo preferences, and positions C5 through C7 are set to my most common movie preferences. Because my basic configuration uses positions C5 through C7 for movies, that means I also have those positions available to toggle to for less frequently used still photo preferences. For example, on a day-to-day basis, I don't need to access my preferred settings for strong chrome FX effect or black and white shooting. So while I normally have positions 5, 6, and 7 ready to use as preferred movie modes, I also have position 5 programmed with my preferred setting for strong chrome FX effect and position 6 for black and white shooting. When I need them, I simply access the custom mode setting option that I placed in the My menu and toggle those positions over from their usual movie modes to being those special use still photo modes. Now, if you fill up all 7 positions on your top dial with your primary set of preferences, and you're ready to start putting secondary preferences into any of the positions, here's how you go about doing that. I'll walk through the procedure so that you can see it happen. Remember, any position that's already programmed with still photo preferences can now also be programmed with a set of movie preferences, and vice versa. As I mentioned earlier, the first thing you want to do is assign a slot in the My menu to the custom mode setting feature. This way, at any time in the future, you can go here and quickly toggle any of the C1 through C7 positions to its alternate mode. Remember, just like there are two quick menus in the camera, one for movie modes and one for still photo modes, there are also two different My menus in the camera. There is one that is accessed from any movie mode and a separate one that is accessed from any still photo mode. For consistency, I recommend that after you choose a place for this setting inside the My menu for movies, you also place it again at the same position in the list inside the other My menu that exists for still photo modes. That way, you can always find it in the same place, regardless of what shooting mode the camera is in at the time. Personally, as you can see, I keep it in the second position from the top in each of the two different My menus in my camera. Now that your new menu item is there and ready, you can use it to choose the slot on the top dial that you want to add another mode to, and toggle that slot to the alternate mode. For this demonstration, I'm going to choose my C4 slot, which is currently programmed with only a set of still photo preferences, and I'm going to give it a set of movie preferences that can be toggled too. So right now, I'm toggling it to movie mode. Now I'm going to the camera's main menu, and I'm going to choose the option to edit/save the custom settings. Now in the sub-menu, I choose the slot that I am going to program, in this case C4, and I'm choosing the option labeled edit/check. Now all of the various movie mode options become available to configure. I'll go through all the choices and set my desired preferences. In this case, I'll make it be a mode that shoots in 4K HQ, and then use the back button to choose the option to save current settings. Whenever you do this, don't forget to give your settings a descriptive name. Repeat this as necessary for all the top dial slots that you wish to be able to toggle into an alternate mode. Now, whenever the need arises, you simply go to My menu, access the custom mode setting, and toggle any desired position on the dial to its alternate function. If you need help remembering what any top dial position is programmed for, you can press the Q button to see your descriptive name for that mode. Here you can see that I have C6 set on the top dial, and when I press the Q button, I can glance at the top of the screen and see that it's currently in movie mode with my preferred settings for 120 FPS recording. I can toggle C6 to still photo mode, press the Q button, and see that I'm now ready to shoot some black and white still photos with the Acros R film simulation. Here's another cool thing to think about. Considering the fact that the P, S, A, and M still photo modes are always holding a configuration that you set there independently from the custom slots on the top dial, and also considering the fact that the movie position on the dial is holding a configuration that you set there independently from any of the custom slots, you actually have 16 different profiles that you can access directly from the top dial in combination with the toggle option in the menu that I showed you. I actually don't set any of the C1 through C7 positions to my most commonly used go-to movie mode. I keep the actual movie mode position itself programmed to my go-to settings. I like to think of it as a bonus custom slot beyond C1 through C7. I also have the red button on top of the camera programmed to be a movie recording button, so that if I'm in a still photo mode and I need to suddenly record something, I don't have to stop and look and turn the top dial anywhere. I simply push the button and the camera starts recording with the movie settings that are currently programmed in the top dial's movie position. Be aware that the movie recording will use whatever film simulation profile the camera is currently set in when the red button is pushed. So for instance, if you're shooting stills in, say, Velvia or a black and white profile, pushing the red button will start recording a movie that matches that film sim. Now this is really important. After you've spent so much time in the menus and finally have your camera set up the way you want and are happy with it, You don't want to risk anything happening that might cause you to lose all of those settings and have to spend time trying to remember how to do it all over again to the camera from scratch. First, make sure your camera is set to use option 5 to set the USB port connection mode to be able to back up and restore your camera settings. Then use the Fujifilm X-H2 software and save a copy of your camera's configuration. Now you will have a backup. If for any reason your camera loses its memory and goes back to the factory defaults, or goes in for repair and comes back to you reset to factory defaults, you can restore it instantly. Also, if you buy another matching camera as a backup, you can instantly make the cameras be identical by downloading your backup file into your new camera. While I'm talking about the Fujifilm X-H2 software, here's something else to know. If there are times when you will be using your camera for one particular type of shooting, and then you decide to use it at another time for another particular type of shooting, you can fully customize the camera for your primary purpose, for instance, shooting stills and doing videography at weddings. Save your wedding photography settings from your camera into your computer using the software and name the file appropriately. Then, if for instance you decide to do some traveling for landscape and wildlife photography, you can completely reprogram the camera and overwrite your wedding settings with totally different preferences for that other type of shooting. Once again, use the Fujifilm X-H2 software to save a file of your alternate travel configuration and name that file appropriately. When you come back from your trip and you're ready to go back to work shooting weddings, you simply reload your wedding configuration file back into the camera. There's no limit to the amount of different camera setups you can save to be able to completely reconfigure your camera in a matter of seconds anytime you want to change its primary purpose or functionality.